So, just played loud Starfish here, and we're gonna talk about 1966 songs. And I have Andrew here, my co-host. Hello. And yeah, Andrew, what did you think of the year?
Yeah, well, I really liked 1965, and this is just even bigger step up for me. A lot of the same artists that were already delivering last year, they're still delivering. They're experimenting with new things. Songs are getting more innovative without sacrificing any of the greatness. Really, for this year, it was just a matter of finding what to cut and finding material to include and trying to spread the love a little bit because, I could make a top 10 with just a couple artists if I really wanted to. What about you?
Um, Pretty much the same. Yeah. It just, I guess, in some ways keeps getting better and better. And also had some trouble, I had in 65 too. And especially again the single side me is like wild. And yeah, I guess for me it's almost comes more I think I naturally do the like that it spreads around for different artists. I feel like that's I don't know, obviously I try to keep it some way like in my mind objective, but I pick like those would be my topics. Obviously, sometimes you forget a song or something, but I just yeah try to keep it as objective for me as I can. Yeah. Um, but yeah, you, Andrew's gonna start with his five best singles of 1966.
Great. So we'll start with number five. I have I Want You by Bob Dylan. And I
Mm.
really like him best when he's has a little bit of a pop element infused in it. And this is maybe the best example of that in his catalog. Just like a really cute kind of like folk pop type tune. Um, yeah, I like it a lot. It's my favorite off of Blonde on Blonde. Number four is a song that would show up the next year, but it was released as a single in '66. Hey Joe, the Jimi Hendrix Experience. Definitive version of the song in my mind. It had a few versions out there at the time and later, but I think this is the one. A bit bluesy and psychedelic, but it's also some really like sweet backing vocals, and I think it makes for a really great mixture of things. Number three, I have "The Sun Ain't Gonna Shine Anymore" by the Walker Brothers, and kind of reminds me a little bit of like Bill Medley and the Righteous Brothers. You have Scott Walker's baritone vocals that sound so great against like this like soulful Baroque pop sound, and it's just a really great song too, in my opinion. Number two, I have Eleanor Rigby, the Beatles. Just really like vocals and a string section here, but it just pops out of the speakers. Just top tier stuff. Great example of kind of like how the sounds were changing in new ways and still managed to be really accessible. And then my last single, my top single pick is Good Vibrations, Beach Boys. Really innovative, experimental, and yet catchy and in a tight package. You have like all these different sections that maybe shouldn't work together, but somehow they do. And it's just a really kind of worthy commercial and creative forces work together for Brian Wilson. And yeah, those are my five singles picks.
Like with your list, like already you can see how many awesome songs here is, and unless I'm completely blacking out, I don't think we have anything in common yet. But yeah, my five best singles are gonna be Like number five, The Kids Are Alright by The Who, which is a game on the 65 album, My Generation album, but I think the single came in 66. And just just really rocking tune by them. Love the chorus a lot. Love Roger's vocals, and also like that. It kind of has this almost kind of, I don't want to say common, but like very snare heavy drum beat, um, but then just Keith Moon just does those kind of Keith Moonish type of fills and to make the sound like bigger, and it's very cool. And just I feel like this is just one of these songs that you put on while you're walking or something if just feel cooler by it. Number four is a classic song by the Rolling Stones, Painted Black. Again, like I had satisfaction in the last episode. It's maybe slight, again, overplay with this one too, but uh just can't fault it either way. Like very memorable, and just everything just comes together in this Stones song. And I have a feeling I'm gonna pick I might pick Stones in many years, but like it's just that good. Uh Songwriting duo of Decker and Richard. Yeah, it's Painted Black. Number three is by the Beach Boys. Wouldn't it be nice? Uh, this is a very popular song. You can hear it in like movies and such, and very people know it. And it has just so much joy in it, just musically and by the harmonies. Um, there's like they're like the harmonies, for example, is just very on point, like you would expect from the Beach Boys. Great lead vocals by Brian and Mike, too. Just total classic for me. Number two, is I think quite influential song by the Birds, 8 Miles High. It has this psychedelic feel to it, and maybe it's kind of a like a Indian influence, perhaps. And just I think it's a very cool sound. That's one of these tunes that I gotta lead on the sound a lot, and love like Birds' harmonies too. Um, just a cool song overall. Um, like I feel like 66 is like the start that we're gonna get the psychedelic movement, and it's gonna probably explode in like, well, 67, I guess. And I think this is one of these almost proto, but of that kind, but it's so close that I don't know is it really proto, but my number one is a lovely song. It's This Old Heart of Mine is Weak for You by the Isley Brothers. Um, I had a weird thought listening to this. Um, like, I don't know, well, maybe not weird, but like, I think it has one of the best ways the I love you part sang in any song. Just love the way that the word you is sung in like falsetto. Just so like catchy and loving at the same time. Again, just this one of these songs you just put on and you get like a sunny feel out of it, and even in the middle of the winter, and love it a lot. So that's my number one single here. And yeah, five best deep cuts is next.
Nice job. You could easily switch your songs to mine and I'd be just as happy with it. So kind of shows to the strength.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so for my deep cuts, uh, I'm going to start number five, pulling from a album cut from Pet Sounds. That's Not Me, the Beach Boys. Uh, it just a song that kind of grows in my estimation the more I hear it. It's a bit sparser than a lot of their other songs this year, but impressively like how it blends. Like it's impressive how it blends with the other tracks when the brothers are the ones playing on this one instead of like the usual Wrecking Crew arrangements. So it's a song I've really grown to appreciate a lot. Number four from Revolver, For No One by the Beatles. Another Baroque prop gem from Paul McCartney. This time he's got like the keys and the French horn going. Uh, sounds like a song that could like simultaneously couldn't have been written earlier and also sounds like hundreds of years old. Um, so yeah, it's a really cool song as he kind of pushes more into that Baroque pop style, which is a genre I tend to like at its best at least. Number three, it's I'm Not Like Everybody Else by the Kinks. This was a B-side to Sunny Afternoon, and I think it's a really cool song because it kind of retains the early garage rock sound that they had, but also contains like the more introspective theming that they would kind of utilize more as the decade wore on. So it's kind of like a really good blend of those two styles there, and it's a really cool song. I always recommend for people to check it out if they haven't heard it. Number two is another one that I was just shocked wasn't used as a single, maybe because of the harsh lyrical themes. Under My Thumb, the Rolling Stones. Um, just a really cool song, especially the instrumental touches that Brian Jones adds into it, like the marimba. It just, I don't know, it's just really cool. And then my number one deep cut, going back to the Beatles, Tomorrow Never Knows. I think this song just like an amazing achievement. The production is the star here. I'm not even sure if I would call it ahead of its time as much as just like a high point in music. Like it has like this really almost like droning, like psychedelic element to it, but it just sounds so amazing in your ears. And you have like those almost like seagull, like synthy sounds in there. I mean, it's just a real cool like soundscape you have going on and great way to close out the record. So those are my five deep cut picks.
Oh, very nice. Um, I know we at least have like yeah, one deep cut in common. And I kind of looking at my list, I kind of went kind of on that 8 mile high, 8 miles high route with my deep cut, so kind of like more psychedelic feeling to them. And my number five big artist that I haven't talked about yet in this series. Um, it's by the Beatles. I'm Only Sleeping. Yeah, I do love Revolver. It's my favorite Beatles album, and it has a lot of great songs, and this is one of them. I especially love the um, guitar in this one. I think the kind of like the backwards lead guitar thing is very cool. And next, I have another psychedelic song. It's Season of the Witch by Donovan. I did actually not that while ago. I listened to that album, but like I wasn't like totally into it completely. But I think this and Sunshine Superman is both great songs. And number three is another Beatles song. Uh, this is a George Harrison song, "Love You Too," which maybe I don't know is would others have this as high? I'm not sure. Perhaps not, but like I do love this kind of um Harrison's Indian influence songs like this, and the Sergeant Pepper one, which name I can't get right now, but which isn't the Sergeant Pepper's album, and just uh, just a cool vibe to it, and um, I do kind of like when Beatles just tries out things, and this feels like a definite type of song for that, and yeah, cool tune. Uh, Number two, I'm going with the song that I found. I'm pretty sure this was on in the Tarantino movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's by the Rolling Stones, Out of Time. It's found on the UK version of Aftermath. Love the melody of it, and just I kind of just remember when I first heard it through that movie, and just thinking how well it fit to the movie and the scene, and just one like I recognized that, yeah, it's Mick Jagger singing, but I didn't know it then, so it's kind of like first heard it in the cinema, and I was like, oh yeah, this is awesome. Um, yeah, cool song. Um, Number one is song that I have in common with you. Tomorrow Never Knows by the Beatles. Um, yeah, like you said that this kind of feels like an achievement in production and soundscapes, I guess. And um, it's just kind of out there song, almost like, but it's also like, it's almost like perhaps because of the length, it's just 3 minutes, like it's not overbearing or anything. So um, definitely must hear if you haven't. Um, I don't think it's gonna be everyone's cup of tea, but like it's a cool song, and yeah, I guess I had three Revolver picks here, but I just couldn't help myself. Yeah, that's my five deep cuts.
Yeah, well, it's a great album with a lot of non-singles, so it makes sense to pull from that.
Yep, yep, for sure.
I guess that leads me to best number ones, and I think
Yeah.
it's probably at least as good, maybe even better of a list of songs overall. Um, I gotta go with the one that I actually had on my list, Good Vibrations, um, for many of the reasons I said. But I'd also give a shout out to Paint It Black, which I didn't have, you had, and I think is also a really great song. And it also has my last year number one, Sounds of Silence, on there. So yeah, there was a lot to choose from.
Oh yeah. Um, like we did in 65, I'm gonna have the same number one, or like this number one single, Good Vibrations. Like if Tomorrow Never Knows is also maybe kind of a like a achievement, this also has to be like a achievement in like at least rock pop or something like that. Just um it's it's kind of like it's very poppy, like it's very kind of easy to listen to, I feel. It does have the changing parts that maybe could put someone off, and but like, oh, like can you get to the chorus and not smile would be like one thing. I think it's impossible to not. And just I feel like one of the honestly one of the perfect songs ever. Just I love it a lot. Uh, Harmony is on point and everything. Like this is basically Beach Boys at its finest. So yeah, that was a pretty easy pick for me in this group, despite it having multiple great songs. Yeah, good vibrations.
Great. Yeah, so now I'm starting to wonder if we're gonna match up again because for worst, there's really only two songs I seriously considered, and there's one I mostly considered, and that's Ballad of the Green Berets, Sergeant Barry Sadler. Um, because it was such a great year on Billboard, it makes it really unfortunate that this ended up being the biggest one. The top most selling song of the year kept Beatles and Stones off the number one for a couple times. And it's really not much more than like a patriotic march, but I guess a certain faction of the public was into it at the time. It was
Yeah.
between that and Winchester Cathedral, which I think is a little annoying too, but is at least more of a song.
Hmm. Yeah. I agree those two are the worst and of the bunch, and I have also the Ballad of the Green Berets by Barry Settler. Uh 5 weeks at number one, so wild. Like like March of 1966 must have been like a very miserable time for radio listeners. Like I just I just I'm not sure even is this like terrible, but it's just so boring and so like um if we just think of that like songs we already talked about like This Old Heart of Mine or something like that should be like a number one, not this. But like uh I even thought like the marching drums even sounded kind of odd. Like it doesn't sound that good, but um that's a very boring song. Like I wouldn't listen to this again. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, we managed to line up
Again.
both picks 2 years in a row. I don't expect that to continue, but pretty cool for now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess that leads us to Song of the Year. We'll have
Yeah.
another song to talk about. Uh, I'm not the first person to gush about this one. Probably won't be the last. It's probably not a huge surprise pick, but God Only Knows, Beach Boys.
Mm.
Um, I mean, it's pretty much like just a beautifully written song, given like the A-list treatment from its players. Great lead vocal performance. Supporting vocals are great. Just everything works, and perfect song in my opinion. I'll highlight the ending, which is probably my favorite part, where all the different vocals start weaving in around in each other and circling back into each other, and it's always gets me. So, and it's not a long song, so it keeps you like leaves you wanting more, which I always appreciate.
Yeah, God only knows. What a great song. I have the same band, actually, the Beach Boys, but not the same song. And yeah, I already talked about this. It's good vibrations. Um, had to be for me. I guess I already talked about it, but just for me, totally feel good song. Makes you smile. Has that sing along quality to it too. And I love the kind of flow of it and just all the different parts and just keeps changing a bit and then suddenly, oh, the chorus is back and then having a lot of fun again. And just amazing song, basically. Um, Perfect song. Yeah, Good Vibrations
Awesome.
is my song of the year of 66.
Very nice.
Oh yeah. Um, so plenty of bands that start with the B something. The
It was a
Beach
good
Boys, the
year.
Birds, the Beatles.
And even going to solo artists, you got like Bob Dylan, doing big
True,
time for that.
true. There's and sadly Barry Settler, but you know.
That we figured out why he got number one there.
Oh man. Oh well. I guess it would be kind of odd if something like this would be on the number one nowadays on the charts. I wouldn't. I don't think I would see that coming.
Although it might not be my worst song either.
Yeah, I don't think I actually dislike the Herman's Hermits probably more because it just
Yeah,
annoys me more. That's not something I want to feel, but this just bores me so much that it's not good either. But like maybe it's
it's just the wondering why this one had to do it when there's so much other stuff that's great that's not
yep,
getting there.
yeah, that is the yeah. Yeah. You want to see our list below in the comments. Um, and let us know if there's Barry Settler fans here somewhere. Um, and yeah, thank you for watching and see you in the next episode. Bye bye.